And good Monday to y'all, and welcome to the Jerry Hinkle program. The reason why so many people hate Mondays, and it has been a while since we got together. But guess what? Something has happened since the last time we got together, and those of you who are blind are missing a whole lot by only listening to the show. But those who have sight know that I found out recently, as a matter of fact, just this morning, I found out that my Walmart discount was good at the shop next door there, the hair styling place. That wonder. Nope. I thought I had the receipt in my pocket. I must have took it out. Anyhow, so I was I gave the lady a healthy tip because y'all saw what I looked like last time, and then I had grown some hair since then. So anyhow, that's how that turned out. And so I guess the next thing I want to talk about is the musical Godspell. Dakota Wesleyan theater department really did a great job on this. As far as musicals go, this ranks right up there with Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat there. And of course, every musical I've seen was most triumphant. But I'd say that Joseph and this, that was very good. Now, not that Xanadu and darn Yankees. I don't want to have any lemon juice, but it was darn Yankees. Darn Yankees, which I thought was a Civil War drama, turned out to be about America's national pastime, surfing the internet. I mean baseball. Anyhow, but excellent musical. It is a revival of a 1970 rock opera, and the reason I call it a revival is because some of the things that they did in the show that I saw were probably not a part of the original script back in 1970. For sure, Donald Trump going to hell did not happen in the original movie. A lot of folks would have liked to have seen that. Maybe not necessarily in 1970, but a lot of people like to see that now. Anyhow, we're talking about that was my favorite part when they sent Donald Trump to hell, and he says, "What is that thing, Hilton?" And the guy sounded like Donald Trump too, and I don't know what they found to simulate the Donald's hairstyle, but that was how the makeup crew did a great job on that fella. The fellow that played Donald Trump, and the fella that played Jesus was a chick. I know I shouldn't dwell on that, but it just took me by surprise. But like I say, it worked, and she did an excellent job. And I just happened to have a program here because I wanted to refer to it, because Marian Raggles was the young lady's name. She did a wonderful job. She tap danced, which I don't know if Jesus tap danced, but this Jesus was a tap dancer, and singing and dancing and the usual musical comedy stuff. And she had a masterful presence on stage. She was able to quote scripture as masterfully as just about anyone. And I've seen people play Jesus where but didn't move me quite as much as it did here. So that was kudos to director Dan Miller. He always, yeah, um, he always seems to knock it out of the park, so to speak, and that's a reference to darn Yankees there. But anyhow, I don't know how he sent us all to heaven with this, I guess you could say. And no, it was everything was the crucifixion. The fellow now. I did some research after the fact because I kind of wondered how much of this was how much because there was so much that was taken from the present time that I wondered as how much of the original material was there. Turns out that the person who usually plays John the Baptist also plays Judas for whatever reason, and Jesus and Judas John, I guess we'll call them. Those are the only two um, titled roles, or everyone else went by the actor's first name, which is another thing that and this was a master's thesis for somebody, and we discussed this. And Chris Farrar was there. Just wanted to put that in. He was, and he's been all over the world promoting his movie The Last Will. He was in India on India MTV. Apparently, they still do music videos on MTV India. They also put on short films, and I guess they got them to put the short film on his short film on MTV India. So a great big thumbs up to MTV India out there. Maybe we can get it on MTV in this country. It sure beats them teenage mothers, don't it? Well, of course it does. Anyhow, I'm going to lean over this way now. So what? The musical. Chris Farrar was at the musical. Yeah, he was selling soda. He sold me some soda and a Reese's peanut butter cup. Mountain Dew to make sure that I stayed awake through the rest of the day, and I did stay awake. I'm starting to drag now, but that's only this is fine. I don't need to be awake right now. Well, actually, I kind of do. Anyhow, yeah. The fellow who played John Judas. You got to refer to the program once again. James Van Ort. He did a wonderful job. He and in both roles, when he changed from when he stopped being John the Baptist and started in on Judas, the change was remarkable. All he had to do to turn into Judas, it turns out, put on a top hat and a Michael Jackson outfit, and all of a sudden he was Judas. It's amazing what the right clothes can do for a fella. But and he did a wonderful job there. He does consistently a wonderful job. He was really good at Scrooge, which was now this was a Dakota Wesleyan musical as well, I believe. Well, it was that was ACT, and that's I believe I told you how wonderful that was, and he played the part of Scrooge, and that was in one of those. It was December. It was in our first season, so he referred to that. He did an excellent job as that, and he did an excellent job of Scrooge. And well, the reason why he keeps doing excellent work is why they put it. They put him in their show because he does excellent work. That's right. And so, who else have we got to talk about? Well. Oh, I got beads from a couple of nice young ladies. They didn't, it was kind of the opposite of Mardi Gras. No shirts were lifted, and no body parts were exposed for me to procure beads. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm going to take the beads back and see if maybe I can give them away and kind of give back. That's what you do. Anyhow, but I guess those two events really helped me show off my tiger pride this week. Getting the haircut this morning, and the musical yesterday, and so I guess in other news, the presidential election is accelerating and shifting into super low. I don't know. There's just not too much excitement. For some reason, some of the liberals out there have just now noticed that the Clintons are a little bit ethnically challenged. Accusing mostly the burners, and I can't really fault them there. I am a burner myself until someone better comes along, and all that. And there's a lot of folks, but apparently Senator Sanders will be joining the Pope at his at the, I don't know what they call that house that he lives in at the Vatican, but anyhow, he's going to go over to Pope Francis's digs there, and they're going to talk about feeding children or some such thing, I guess. And while they're doing that, Hillary's going to be at Hong Kong with a whole lot of money folks trying to raise money to run for president. And for some reason, that doesn't sit well with a lot of the folks who are supporters of Senator Sanders. Well, it really shouldn't. When you figure out she's going to a foreign country to raise money to run for president of this here country, well, that's of course that's nothing new. Remember, James Riotti and the Lippo group, they gave her husband upwards of $27 million just to have coffee in the White House. And let's not forget all them folks that paid $100,000 a night to be in the Lincoln bedroom. No, this is not their first rodeo. They know exactly what they're doing, and we'll see if it pays off for them in the end. New York primary is coming up, going to be a big one because, as it turns out, Senator Sanders, even though he is a senator from Vermont, was actually born and raised, so I'm told to understand, in Brooklyn, New York, and so if you lived in New York, wouldn't you go to Vermont? Yeah, I believe we all would. So that's how. And then they call Hillary a carpetbagger because she doesn't. She supposedly was born and raised in Chicago. And of course, she moved to Arkansas to be Bill's first lady in Arkansas when he was governor. And then all of a sudden she moved to New York. Well, so I guess I will say we'll see how that goes. And of course, the California primary, that is the big one. And of course, the California primary, same time as South Dakota primary. So it's too close to call right now. I remember, what was it? I think it was 2008 when I was volunteering for the current president, believe it or not. Trying to get the word out for people to vote for Obama. And sometime that afternoon, there was a story that Hillary dropped out of the race or some such thing. But people just weren't listening. It's just people just didn't. They were very, very rude when you come to it. So that kind of put me off of volunteering. Because, these people were supposedly, they had supported Obama in the past somehow, and they got on the mailing list for Obama somehow. And a lot of folks, there's one young lady, she, from my church, and she always waved to me ever since I saw her at the, so, yeah, anyhow. So that's what's going on there. And of course, we don't know Trump. We got Cruz. This guy's name's Cruz. Canadian. His name's Cruz. Doesn't sound Canadian, but that's his name. And the fella from Kasich, yeah, he's a fellow from Ohio. That's right. That's Lucy. I don't know how I do the show with her. Anyhow, that is. Seems to be my catchphrase these days, doesn't it? All right. Well, that should do it for the Jerry Hinkle program for this week at least. So until then, God be with you. Do the best you can. Don't forget to vote if you have to. And by the way, you're out of my bathroom. You're invading my privacy.